Hey, it's Michael Angelo Caruso. I want to talk to you about presenting, and in particular, the beginning of a presentation and how you can arrange for three things to happen that will really do you well, not only for your reputation, but for branding yourself, and most powerful of all, for making it an effective presentation. Of course, every good presentation has a call to action. So let's talk about those three things right now. The first thing I want to tell you is that there is much you can do to establish what's called psychological synchronicity with your audience in advance of your talk. One of the things that you can do, of course, is to reach out to people via email or some sort of a broadcast message that lets people know that you're looking forward to being with them, that you'll be at the event, that you'll be presenting on such and such a topic, and maybe even soliciting for feedback. What is your most important concern with this? What are you worried about? What's going okay with you on this particular topic? And establishing that dialogue can sometimes help people understand that you're a friend and not a foe. So you can establish this kind of psychological synchronicity in advance of the event, or at the very beginning of your talk, you can establish what's called positive expectation by explaining to the people with some sort of emotion, hopefully, and maybe a smiling face, that this is going to be a fun presentation. You've worked on it, it's road tested, it's time proven, and that on some level it will be the best program they've ever attended. I used to tell people this when I spoke, and still do to some extent, but when I was on the public seminar circuit, a lot of people were sent by their employers to these programs, and they didn't want to be there. They felt like they were being held hostage. So I would tell people at the very beginning of my talk, I would say, I'm glad you're here today. I know some of you don't really want to be here today, but I want to tell you something. This will be one of the best seminars you've ever attended. And I would do this big smile on my face. And I won't promise you that everybody bought that message, but if there were 100 people in the room, I think 98 of them looked at each other and smiled and said, good, man, I could use a good seminar, or I could use a good program right about now. That's good news. I think probably 2 people in the room crossed their arms like this and they said to themselves, I don't like him already. And that's okay too. You can't please everybody, but 98 people are assuming it's going to be a positive experience for them. I think that's a good way to get started. So this idea of establishing positive expectation can be done in advance of the event, or it can be done in the first few minutes of your talk. The second thing that you can do is to let people know that on some level that this will be a terrific event for them, because you're going to teach them something that they don't know. Now, a trick for this, and I've been doing this for a long time, is to give them a statistic. Now, it has to be a true statistic, something relevant, ideally something interesting, and something that they can recapitulate in their future presentations, something that's memorable. For example, I'm a writer, an author, and I know that there happen to be about 1 million words in the English language, depending on how you count the derivations. So I'll often tell people in the beginning of my talk, you know, there are 1 million words in the English language. And a lot of people don't know this, so they take that statistic in and they assume A, I might know something they don't know, B, that this could be a useful presentation for them, and C, they better listen up because this could be really good. So these are 2 things that you can do right away: establish that positive expectation, and also to teach them something they don't know. And a third thing that you can do at the very beginning of the presentation is to help them relax somehow. Now, one of the ways to help an audience relax is to get them to laugh or to use humor. I don't teach humor because I think it can be a very difficult and delicate thing to teach people in terms of presentation skills. After all humor makes fun of something, and so you're already going into a pretty rough area, unless of course it's self-deprecating humor, meaning you're making fun of yourself. That also isn't the best formula if you're trying to establish credibility, because if you're making fun of yourself, then you're trying to build yourself up and tear yourself down at the same time. Again, it can be a dicey scenario. So one of the ways that you can help people relax is to tell them a story. And the story is very useful if it's something that shows people that you're just like them, or it can be a third-party story that you tell about someone else to help them relate to that person. Ideally, maybe that person then was a customer of yours or somebody that you were able to help somehow. And in that way, a quick story at the beginning, not a long story, and not a tall tale, but a short story, right? Something that's believable, something that they can latch onto. Again, playing on that psychological thing that's happening. They want to like you, they want to identify with you. All you have to do is give them some reasons to. So, those three things at the beginning of every presentation, please write them down and try to get them into your next talk. The first is to establish that positive expectation, which can be done before the event or during the actual beginning of your presentation. The second is this idea of somehow teaching them something they don't know, perhaps by using the statistic trick I just taught you. And the third is by helping them relax or somehow feel like they know you already or feel like they can identify with you. And one of the fastest ways to do that is to tell maybe just a 2-minute story about some sort of trial or tribulation that you had, or maybe even a third party had. I'm going to continue this video series in various places, initially as an exclusive to people who are accessing me online through a special offer, and then later maybe you'll see the video series on YouTube. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I'll see you next time. My name is Michael Angelo Caruso. More presentation tips at michaelangelocaruso.com. See you there.